Hey there, this is Michael with ChiroUp, and in this video we're going to talk about how to create a patient avatar to help inform us on our marketing strategy. In other words, we're trying to figure out who it is that you want to help and then how to attract them into the clinic. And the timing of this is actually perfect because we just had the Super Bowl, which means that we're just exposed to a lot of ads and a lot of marketing strategies. So take a second and think about which ads stood out to you. Was it the Sabrina Carpenter ad with Pringles, where she created the perfect man out of Pringles and then spent the entire day with him? We'll take a second and think about who were they trying to target with that ad? Probably a younger demographic, those who listen to Sabrina Carpenter. Whereas if we take a look at Coinbase, for example, Coinbase had a karaoke ad where they featured the Backstreet Boys. So who was Coinbase trying to target? Probably millennials, those born in the 80s and 90s, grew up listening to all the boy bands, and then honestly probably sing karaoke to the Backstreet Boys. Otherwise, if you think about it, these companies probably would have picked different either songs or celebrities to resonate with their target demographic. Maybe Coinbase would pick AC/DC or Led Zeppelin if they were trying to skew a little bit older, or maybe Pringles has Brad Pitt or George Clooney, somebody that's instantly recognizable for those target demographics. Now think about who is it that you're trying to reach? We want to make sure that your communication style matches that demographic, that the problems that you're talking about are obviously problems that they experience. So that way, whenever they see your advertisements or your marketing, they go, oh, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. They understand how you're communicating with them because you're speaking in the same language, and they go, I want to work with that clinic. They understand me. I'll make an appointment, right? That's the whole idea. And this is where a patient avatar comes into play. So what you should do here is create a Google Doc or grab a pen and paper, and we'll go through each one of these categories. And you want to be as specific as possible with all of this so we can really paint a very accurate, ideal patient. Otherwise, if you're too generic, it's not going to be all that helpful. Starting off with age and gender. Are you a pediatric clinic, primarily working with those under 18, but then also you're going to have to target parents who are in their 30s and 40s? Are you working with collegiate athletes who are 18 to 22? Or are you a geriatric clinic who's working with primarily those 60 to 65 plus? And if you think about each one of those age ranges, they all speak a little bit different, right? The way that they communicate is different. If you've ever talked with Gen Z or Gen Alpha, you know that the way that they speak is a lot different than millennials and a geriatric population. So you want to make sure that you're communicating effectively with that population. You can also look at their occupation. Are we dealing with a student athlete who has to go from being a student and studying a lot to them being able to go run, jump, play sports after school or on the weekends? Are we dealing with a stay-at-home mom or dad? Are we dealing with an office worker who's primarily sitting for most of their time at a laptop? You can kind of start to paint a picture of this ideal patient now because we have an age range, gender maybe, and then obviously an occupation. Then we can take it one step further and think about what's their physical activity and what are their hobbies and interests. Are we dealing with someone who's sedentary mostly through the week? Maybe that's the office worker who is sitting at their computer Monday through Friday, but then on the weekends they're running marathons or going to CrossFit or High Rocks? Are we dealing with a grandparent who is walking, doing a lot of maybe social activities? They're part of a knitting club or something like that, but they want to be able to spend more time with their family? Same thing when we look at the interests and hobbies here. Are they part of a run club? Do they go to CrossFit or High Rocks? Are they a new parent where they're doing after school activities with their kids or doing sports? Are they traveling a lot? Are they part of that knitting club? What is it that they typically do? And so now when we put all four of these together, we should have a pretty good idea of exactly who this person is. They're a 35-year-old new parent. They're a stay-at-home parent. They're a little bit active because they're lifting a little bit, but they don't have their normal routine quite yet. They're doing a lot of after-school activities and they're very busy. Or maybe this is a student athlete. They're running around and doing all that kind of stuff with track and field afterwards, but they're busy with social activities as well because they're in college, for example. Now we can look at how is it that you can help them? What problems are they actually dealing with? Is that new parent experiencing lower back pain because they're bending over and picking up their kid or playing with them on the ground? Are we dealing with an office worker, somebody who works in finance or tech who's dealing with cervicogenic headaches or tension headaches because they're stressed all the time? Are we dealing with collegiate athletes who are maybe dealing with more Achilles tendon problems, hip problems, whatever it may be? Or are you a postpartum clinic where maybe you're going to focus a little bit more on pelvic floor? Once we kind of establish this, what are their frustrations? If we have that athlete, for example, they might be frustrated because they've gone to multiple healthcare providers and they've told them, "Why are you running? Why are you lifting that much? You need to stop." That athlete probably doesn't want to hear that because they want to get back to their activity, so they're looking for someone who can help them. Same thing if it's a new parent and all of their appointments are they only spend 5 minutes with the provider and they're like, I can't get all my questions answered in that time. They're probably frustrated by that experience. And so that's where you can kind of help tailor your marketing and say, we're different. We spend 30 minutes or 60 minutes. We do rehab. We understand that, you want to do your activities and your sports. That way, when they see your promotions, they go, that clinic gets me. I want to work with them. And that comes also down to the outcomes as well and their expectations. If you have an athlete, they not only want to get out of pain, but they want to make sure that they're strong and they're able to go back to competition. It's not just good enough if they can walk around without pain, if they can't jump without pain. Maybe it's a new parent who wants to be able to play with their kids and pick them up, or I guess grandparents as well, same kind of thing. Maybe it's someone who does a heavy labor job who needs to get back into work. You want to make sure that we're kind of addressing all of these barriers that our ideal patient is experiencing, so that way they want to work with you. Now, we could put all this together, and when we're looking at it, we can use this simple framework, and we can either use this on our website, on our social media bio, so Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. So that way, whenever they see any of your advertisements, your promotional materials, whatever it is, they go, that person's they understand me, they get it. And the simple framework is, I help a specific patient with a specific problem using a specific approach. So an example, if you're in a metropolitan area working with a lot of young professionals, maybe in finance or in tech, is I help busy professionals get fast, efficient pain relief so they can keep working and training. This is someone who they don't have 3 hours to have treatment, for example, right? This is someone who they maybe have 15 to 20 minutes at lunch and they need to be in and out, but they want to make sure that it's efficient and good quality care, obviously. And so when they read that, they go, perfect. That person's open at lunch. I can go in, get my treatment, but then I'm out immediately. Great. If you're a postpartum clinic, I help new moms manage postpartum aches so they can move confidently again. Maybe this is somebody who, again, they don't want that 5 or 10-minute appointment because they feel like they need more time to ask all their questions, to go through rehab, to really get a specific solution for a specific problem. They can read this and go, this clinic's different. They're offering what it is that I'm looking for. Same thing with athletes. I help athletes recover from injuries using simple performance-focused rehab. This is someone who doesn't just want to get out of pain, but wants to be able to run their marathon and maybe set a PR. Maybe it's somebody who wants to go back to volleyball or basketball and be able to jump without knee pain. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you're speaking directly to them. And that's really our main takeaway here, is that when we're looking at all of our marketing strategies and all of our ads, for example, we just want to make sure that we're filtering it through our patient avatar to make sure it resonates with them. We're speaking in a tone and a communication style that they obviously typically communicate in, that we're aligning with all of their problems that we were talking about, with their frustrations and all that kind of stuff. So just making sure that when we're looking at all of our marketing and ads, that we have our patient avatar in mind, so that way we're speaking directly to them, so that way they pick your clinic to work with.